Where do we come to find ourselves in a position where the observance or the non-attachment becomes difficult? It seems that this process becomes difficult when one is hyper-focusing on exactly that which they don't wish to focus upon. They're being gravitationally pulled, electromagnetically pulled towards an impression, a branding, a marking, residual scarring, information that has been embossed upon our ethereal body. It's a hyper-focus of sorts that prevents the self from observing. It's easy to observe processes of which are pleasant. For the processes of which I'm referring, that have now left impressions that come from what we refer to in yoga as periods of samskara, the residuals left behind from events where one's volition was seemingly taken away, where attention was not being paid. All vulnerable situations were prevalent in which someone wasn't given the guidance and the protection neurally from this imprinting, this branding. A cow is also branded. It's marked. We give brandings and marks and labels to things that we sell in economy. They become gravitationally heavy. They become what they are, not what they seem. Because they're branded. They now are this and not that. And therefore the limited in what they can become. So the hyper-focus becomes like a magnet. We look towards those things definitively because they're branded and marked, and we say, that's what they are. That is how reality is. But for us, once again, the observation becomes difficult at times when it's not pleasant because of these marks, these brands that we have, that we think that are ours, that have left our hides tanned. And in an effort to escape the hyperfocus, we start to radiate away from the event, but the event stays imprinted. Once we come back to it, we're drawn too close to it because of its power that it's been given. And just like a child watching a horror movie behind a pillow, we keep peering behind the pillow just in case. This is where we need to also look in terms of trauma when observing the self, because it's very easy in my previous video to talk about the wonderful motion of observance and non-attachment to events that are pleasant. But the acknowledgement of the branding, perhaps the observation, the fact that this is just a branding, it is not what reality is. It seems such because it has become heavy. It has been drawn in electromagnetically and accepted at a vulnerable time neurally. And then over time it's been watched over, validated, and becomes more physical, develops into the neural system and becomes lesions. It reacts electrically within the body and it's felt as real because the body will do such a thing. It is meant to give clear, accurate signals to impressions that are completely mental. So my interest is in helping people to look at the things that are more difficult. And Iboga medicine is an amazing tool to free oneself from these gravitationally heavy, these pulling electromagnetic brandings, to be able to look at those more comfortably, with more power, more will outside of the self, and to see that it is purely a brand that no longer belongs to us. In fact, it never belongs to us. It is part of us, but it is not us. It is something that we look at and designate as ours. But that designation is just that. It's just us believing that it is us. Therefore it is. How can we get to these beautiful points of observing the more gravitationally heavy events that are pulling the mind towards them? And for me, and one suggestion in my life and in myself is always to realize that no matter how much something's demanding my attention, how much it's shouting me to buy me, look at me, yell at me, watch me on a video making a YouTube channel, or watch me making this channel on Instagram. No matter how much it's yelling, it's still just yelling. Do I like it or not? I look at it, I observe it, I observe myself, or I observe the event and I decide. This is what we wish for everybody, to have the capacity and the volition of knowing how the mental process works, and to realize that it actually is effortless once we deal with those brandings, those samskaras, those times at which are no longer serving our purpose in life. And we might even be down the track and we might understand that we can observe and not attach. But why do these samskaras remain? I'm riddled with them. I'm far better at managing them, but some are so deep. I've been branded and marked, but that's me believing I'm branded and marked. I'm not those things. And we must continue to work hard and harder and be more brave and help others around you to have more courage to look at the ones that are a little more harsh, and give more love and empathy to everyone around you, because all of us have some sort of embossing, some labeling that we're dealing with, and we're all getting better, and that's the beauty. So let's continue to try to understand reality and matter as best we can in its effortless beauty, without attaching to even the beautiful concepts of idea. Like this one. We don't attach to this one either. We look at it. Does it register for me? Can I apply it physically? Can I integrate this information and find it to be real for myself in this reality, without me falling into it? We must be diligent, because just like a person that was riding a horse and then falls asleep on a horse, the horse continues to now ride the passenger, or the person becomes the passenger and is being ridden by the horse. But the person started off riding the horse. Eventually their own riding was lulled into a trance. And that trance state is often the state that we fall in and out of during the day as consciousness moves and has its fluctuations. So let's all try and understand one another. From me, I send my love and gratitude to everyone around me for giving me these reflections. We're all part of mind. Thank you so much.